First learned about Jim and Copper Sky through our good friend who is also our designer. We had a really bad experience with a previous contractor that had done some work on our other house. And when our friend and designer referred us to Jim, we're like, sure, whatever you think. And I knew that from them working together as much as they had in the past, they understood each other, so that what she envisioned, he could make reality.
I first learned about Copper Sky, I think back to the logo. I think it's a pinwheel arts and crafts style logo. I remember looking at that many years ago and wondering what company that was. And then since that time, have seen the logo often around the neighborhood, around other surrounding neighborhoods, just because it would be on the side of work vans and trucks, and then even since then had learned that Copper Sky was involved in a lot of sponsorships of local schools. So I would ask about the construction level and who was in charge, and heard very good things about it.
Jim is always really easy to collaborate with. He's super responsive. We had some really terrible experiences with contractors in the past on previous houses that we've owned, and this was night and day. I felt like no issue was too small for me to complain about, and then Jim would always fix things right away if there was something that I wanted to tweak.
All of Jim's crew, we've had a really good experience and really good rapport with. I mean, Adam, his right-hand man, has pretty much always been our foreman on most of our projects, except this last one. And just everybody, they're just very flexible. If, once we get into something needs to be changed, they're accommodating, and just, over and all, easy to work with.
It's been a lot of fun working with Jim and his team. They've been excellent. I've worked with a number of folks in this industry, having been a client of others before, and it's been a really wonderful process. It's a nice mix of formality, but also problem solving, and working through really the creative process, which is really exciting for me.
We had them remodel our last house before our daughter was born to get it ready for her. And then after she came along, we just realized the house wasn't enough. So we found this house, and it needed a lot of work to be turned in to a home for us. And basically every room, when you go through the house, it's what we've pretty much always wanted our house to be.
We had gotten everything that we wanted, and we have lived in this house for 5 years now. I was pregnant at the last part of the renovation, and our son was actually born here in our bedroom. And so this house is really special to us in so many ways. And the fact that everything is held up really well over the past 5 years, and that there haven't been crazy issues, and if there has been anything small, I just call Jim and he's like, I'll send someone out right away. So even beyond when you're done renovating, he's gonna be there for you if you have questions, or if things go wrong, or if there's something that you feel like you need to change.
I think it's the level of craftsmanship. I've actually had that happen. I've had neighbors wonder, and they're excited about seeing the project that's going on right now, and I've already referred them just simply because the level of craftsmanship. You're often dealing with homes that are more than 100 years old. Mine is close to 100 years old at this point right now. So you want someone that is respectful of the original structure, ties it in seamlessly, and that's something that was important to me as well.
We were trying to get as many original details as possible back in the house. We also had a big incentive to try to maintain all the original flooring. That wasn't possible in some places, but Jim was really cognizant of where the flooring had to be replaced, how it should look, how it would blend sort of seamlessly into the old wood flooring. And even if you look around, you won't really be able to tell what's old and what's new. So that was a really important aspect of our overall renovation. I think especially with these things that we wanted personally, so we have a slide in our house. Jim was the only contractor who was willing to even consider doing that. We've got a little cubby hole there in between our kids' closets upstairs, and the inside there's a little cutout hole so they can go back and forth. So things like that where instead of telling me all the reasons why we shouldn't do something, Jim was like, okay, we'll make it happen. So I think that's how he goes above and beyond.
I think integrating really the things that my children wanted, things like a loft space above the carriage house, and sort of some of the surprises that you get to take advantage of over time that you really hadn't thought were going to be in the original plans, but when you have important members of your family that want something special, that's been exciting too.
When we got into things and we wanted to make certain modifications and or changes to what we had already talked about, their ability to kind of on the fly adapt with that and see our vision and what we were trying to accomplish and come up with a creative solution anytime a problem came up. Also too, the way that they're organized was very refreshing for us for a contractor, as far as, you know, having an online schedule as far as what was being done when. We knew we had tracking of our payments for everything. It was just organized in a way that, quite frankly, every business that I do business with otherwise does, but for some reason it seems to be such a novelty in their work for people to be that organized. So that was really refreshing, and it just helps prevent any misunderstandings about anything, because you know what's going on, you know what you've paid for, what you haven't paid for. It's just transparent, and it's a good way to project manage and do business.
I would absolutely recommend Jim to other people, and that's because I know that he'll be there for you, and that's part of the most important thing. I mean, he gathers people around him who also know what they're doing and who are very professional and have experience. So I trust that he doesn't have the ego that would get in the way of actually having a great finished product.